Nisambula Vinaka, and a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And our episode this week, we've got, the white cane. First of all, is an important symbol of blindness and a tool of independence. White Cane Safety Day is an annual event marked internationally as well as locally on the 15th of October. So it was launched on Saturday. It's now the annual White Cane Awareness Week. And so we have as our guests in the studio today from the United Blind Persons of Fiji to tell us more. And it's great to have you on the show. Anaseni Vakaindia, Mbulavinaka, and a warm welcome to you.
Mbulavinaka, Luis.
Bula, and we have also Ruthi Senikula. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you, Luis.
Well, it's lovely to have you, but first of all, you might like to explain to us just a bit about the United Blind Persons of Fiji.
Thank you, Luis. First of all, just a brief history about our organization. The United Blind Persons of Fiji was established in 1992 by a group of blind individuals themselves. So they saw that there was a great need of public awareness, creating public awareness on blindness prevention issues. So they decided to come together and form the United Blind Persons of Fiji. So from 1992 up till to date, we have more than 300 members Fiji-wide. And our organization, we look after blind and visually impaired people who are 18 years and above. Mm-hmm. When they are legally detected by the doctor that they are legally blind, mm-hmm. they come and join our association. So we have various programs that's on within the organizations, various projects, awareness programs, and as for the White Cane, it is an annual program for us, mm-hmm. to coincide with the International White Cane Day, which is on the 15th of October, that is celebrated around the world.
So that was launched on Saturday.
Yes, it was launched on Saturday, which we had a small formal session up at the FNCDP complex. That's where we are located at Brown Street.
Yes.
And then we had a sports day with our members from the Suva, the Central Division, and also our members who came all the way from the West. So we had a sports day down at the table tennis center in Lothal Bay.
Wow, that sounds like fun. Did you have fun?
Yes, we had fun because we had the facilities there, and our blind and visually impaired members, they were able to get a chance to play table tennis. So it was a great day for us on Saturday.
Fantastic. So maybe Ruthi might like to give us a brief history of how the White Cane Safety Day and White Cane Awareness Week came about.
Thank you, Luis. The White Cane Day was the history of the White Cane came about from America. It was by Mr. James Biggs. He was an artist, and he had an accident, and he found out that he couldn't move around by himself around his home, and he was afraid of going to the road, of hearing all the vehicles going past him. So he decided to paint his cane white, and he claimed that he was the one who invented the White Cane Day, invented White Cane in 1921.
Wow.
And worldwide, we celebrate White Cane Safety Day on the 15th of October every year. So for our organization, when the celebrating White Cane Safety Day is very important, this is when we get all the members to come together. As Anna have mentioned, we have an opening and we have activities. And during the week, we make arrangements with corporate organizations, with schools, to pay a visit to them and to speak to the students, to speak to the employees of the importance of White Cane, as blind people use it as a symbol of independence while traveling in the bus or while going in town. We try to change the minds and the perceptions of the people whom we speak to. Most of the time, there's a perception that when we see a blind person, it's like we speak to the person who's going with them rather than the person themselves. So that's another thing that we want to raise awareness on to the general public, that blind people also can speak. They can speak for themselves. We want to change the mind of the public that the person is only blind, but every other senses is functioning. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Ruthie. I mean, I know, like, normally if someone is living with a disability, their other senses become very strong. I mean, you would probably have other senses much better than us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, well, that's very interesting. Thank you so much, Ruthie. So this guy who invented the white cane, was he visually impaired as well after?
Yes, the accident caused him to be blind.
Oh, how old was he when that happened? Do you know?
I'm not really sure.
Not too sure, right?
Yes, but all I know is that he was an artist, and then he had an accident which made him blind.
Oh, that would have been really hard for him, I suppose. I mean, I think it's harder when you have sight and then it's taken away from you rather than when you're born to have, be visually impaired.
Yes, there's a big difference when you are born with it and then when you acquire it at a later age. So that's also what we try to, when we go for our awareness, we speak to the students, the audience, that if they have a person who's blind at home, at a later age or at an early age, and we tell them that that's not the end of life, it's just the beginning of another new beginning. And we try and get them to be part of the organization. We encourage them to go back to school or to join the organization and be part of our activities as we go by.
Yes, and you also learn Braille here, is that right?
Yes, we also, we have at the organization, we have activities. We have activities such as teaching computer classes to our members. So some of our members who are not employed or who have finished school and are not doing anything and interested to learn computer, so we encourage them to come to the organization and we teach them computer. We have a software that is called JAWS, Job Access with Speech. Wow. So it's a screen reader. We install it on the computer, and whatever keys you press, it will say what's on the screen. So that's what we teach our members. We don't have a Braille class yet, though we are still on the planning process of having a Braille class like they have for sign language classes for interpreters. Hopefully we want to target school teachers. When our Braille class comes about, we are hoping to target school teachers to also learn Braille, because now we have inclusive education. So not all the students are in special schools. They are also mainstreamed into regular primary and secondary schools. And we feel that it's very important for the teachers out there to have some basic knowledge of Braille.
That's so very important, actually. I'm surprised that you don't have any Braille teacher right now. I mean, well, maybe, I don't know.
We have it at the Fiji School for the Blind, but we want to extend it like to other schools who have enrolled blind students in their classrooms.
Most definitely, that needs to be done. Okay, so, I mean, it's Fiji, maybe a bit slow, but... I know in overseas, well, actually, to tell you the truth, I've got an aunt, and she's about in her 70s, and she taught Braille, like, for most of her life. But anyhow, we'll be back for more on Speak Your Mind. This is your only classic hits radio station in Fiji, Gold FM. Thank you a lot for your company. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And our guest in the studio today are from the United Blind Persons of Fiji, Anaseni Vakaindia and Ruthie Senikola. Well, we were talking about the Braille system earlier on, and how you have said, Ruthie, that you're looking into, improving this part of the United Blind Persons of Fiji to have classes. So, how can you explain how important Braille is for the visually impaired person.
Thank you, Louise. For me, as a person who's blind, Braille is very important because when I grew up, when I went to school from primary, secondary, and at the university, I used Braille. And it's very important. I don't know what else to say if I didn't learn Braille. And now we know that computers are the modern thing now.
Yes.
And I would say that if a blind, from my personal point of view, if someone who's blind didn't learn Braille and went into learning computer straight away with alphabets and everything and using computer in school and everything, I'd say that he or she is missing out. There's a big difference from when you learn how to read and write in Braille and when you learn how to read, how to type and do everything using the computer. So Braille is very important. It makes the child feel the words, know the spellings. It just connects you to what you are trying to learn, to what you are trying to read.
Yes.
Yeah, so Braille is very important, and we learn Braille at the School for the Blind, so that's where every blind child learns how to read Braille, and we use it in secondary school. And then when we go out into tertiary, there's a combination of Braille and also using computers with JAWS.
Wow. So there you go. I mean, you could be employed anywhere when you have all this knowledge. I mean, you can even keep yourself entertained by reading a good book.
Yes.
I mean, well, you use your fingers to identify the alphabets, which form the words. And obviously, you know, there's no better way than reading.
And I just want to share, when I was in the School for the Blind as a boarding student, you know, the privilege of learning, having how to know how to read Braille is that you can read anytime, anywhere, even when the lights go off at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
And I mean, that's what I usually do
Right.
back then. When I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep, so I just take out my library book and read with my fingers, and then it puts me back to sleep. So.
Oh, that's really nice because, you know, my mom, she is an avid reader. She was always reading. She said, you know, reading is better than anything else. Number one, it teaches you perfect English. So, you know, you'd have a skill of having really good English because that's how books help you.
Yes.
Yeah, and she said, oh, you know, you just go into a world of your own when you read. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Because I wasn't much of a reader myself. You know, I only go on the internet and all that. And she says, you don't know what you're missing.
Yes.
Reading, when you read, it just takes you to another world. And, you know, it's just too good. Okay, well, that's wonderful, Ruthie. So nice of you to share with us that bit of information. And, you know, how is the United Blind Persons of Fiji seeking support to maybe, you know, have that request of having more Braille teachers in the country?
We have not gone into minor details about that. We just on the discussion phase of having a Braille class established and maybe have it into two categories, one as being basic and the other as advanced. But as for the funding for this and all, we haven't really discussed. It was just a small discussion that we had on Saturday while at the table tennis center.
Yes.
So I hope that we will take it further and have some plans.
Yes, and, you know, I wish you the best of luck. I mean, you might have someone listening who is really rich and might be able to, you know, help you with that or something. Well, let's just hope for the best. I know, because everything costs money. And, I mean, I definitely think that you need all the support that you can get. That's, you know, that's just the reality of it. So hopefully we've got some luck. Someone listening and interested might get in touch with you. So this is a great way to do it. But yeah, we're still talking about the white cane. We've gone into Braille and how you need a bit of improvement there. But back to the White Cane Day. How long has Fiji been marking White Cane Safety Day and White Cane Awareness Week, Anaseni?
When I joined the organization back in 2007, this event has been done, I think, since the establishment in 1992. So it is like an annual event for our organization. Every month of October, we usually have the launch, and then we, as Rudy have already said, that we have awareness programs in corporate organizations, in schools and institutions. For this year, we, as I've already said, we had the launch on Saturday.
Yes.
And tomorrow is our first awareness session with Transparency International. So we will be talking to their youth groups. Since we just had a meeting 2 weeks ago that they would like to include people with disabilities, including us who are blind and visually impaired, in their youth programs. So we felt that it is a good time for us to go and talk to them about issues that affects blind and visually impaired people.
Yes.
And also how do they deal with us when we are there doing their programs. Some key points that they have to remember. And also at the same time, when we do awareness, we try and tell people the abilities of blind and visually impaired. We have members who are employed. It's just trying to tell the public that even though we are blind, but we are able to go to school, have a proper education, and also some of our members, they are working. So at the same time we are creating awareness, we are also like showcasing the abilities of blind and visually impaired persons. So tomorrow is our first session with the Integrity Youth of Fiji with Transparency International. So we hope that whatever we will tell them, it will be inside information before we start working together with the youth project.
Well, that's wonderful. A great platform indeed. So you and Ruthie will be there, like how you are here today?
Yes.
Wonderful. Best of luck for that. But yeah, we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. A warm welcome to the show. Lovely to have you back with us again. And we have today from the United Blind Persons of Fiji, Anaseni Vakaindia and Rudy Senikula, who have been talking to us about the White Cane Safety Day, which was launched on Saturday, and we have now the White Cane Awareness Week. Now, just a question. Do you think the visually impaired get much support during the White Cane Safety Day and White Cane Awareness Week?
Thank you, Louise. Mostly during this week, this is where we go out and do our awareness. But I think overall, persons with visually impairment who use white cane, first of all, need to know how to use a white cane. They are taught how to use a white cane. Just a few months back, we had a long-time friend and a member of the association. His name is Mr. Tahir. He came from Australia. He was a school teacher at the Fiji School for the Blind way back. And he was one of them who taught orientation and mobility. This is when you teach a blind person how to use a cane and how to be independent in his surroundings and on the road and in the bus. So he came over to Fiji, and we were lucky to invite him to do a 1-week training course for those who wanted to learn how to do orientation and mobility. So this included most of our volunteers. They are sighted. He taught them how to teach blind people how to use a white cane. So and we have members who are very independent, who travel on their own, either by bus or by car. We have some members who are who are masseurs at the Panda Street.
Oh,
Yes, it's a company, Thai company. So they travel on their own. They go by themselves to work and go back. And we have members who work in the bank, as school teachers. We have a lady who's our president of the organization. She is the disability coordinator at FNU. She goes on her own from home to work and back home. And also myself, I live right in Tailevo and I come to Suva every morning. So I come on my own and I go back in the bus home, and I have never had an accident. So that's how important it is that we know how to use our white cane and how to use it properly.
right.
So most of our members, when they become members, if they are totally blind, we give them a cane and we teach them how to use the cane.
Right.
And
So
we encourage them that it's very important. They don't need to be shy about the cane. There's nothing to be shy of, because the white cane is a symbol of independence. It shows the public that you are blind. And if when you don't have a white cane, people won't be aware that there's a blind person coming. So if that person is using a white cane, there's he or she is making awareness for himself and the public, showing independence, showing that wherever he wants to go, he can go if he has his white cane.
right. So it's sort of like a symbol of the white cane is a symbol.
Yes, it's a symbol of independence. It's a symbol of blindness. It's a symbol of your freedom. Because for me, I feel that if I didn't have my white cane, I wouldn't be able to go from here to Nandi or go overseas, or
Yes.
So it's if you have your white cane, then you can go wherever you want to go, with your friends or alone.
Right. So you said you had that really good teacher who came and taught you the skill of how to use it. So obviously from there you can teach someone else.
Yes. So he taught about 6 of our those who were interested. He taught them, and so they are available. If we have a member who needs orientation and mobility, like right now we have a member who lives in Narere, in Makoi.
Yes.
And she was she was low vision before with some vision, and then she just lost her eyesight, and she wants to learn how to come by bus from home to come to the office, which bus to catch, where to cross the road, how to find the gate and all that. So we are just still arranging with her, getting her a bus pass that's issued by the social welfare, this
Right.
red card that we use.
Mm-hmm.
So once that is arranged, once we have that, then we will bring one of the students who learn who did the orientation and mobility course to teach our member how to come from home to the office and go back.
Yeah, okay, just asking, how does the white cane work? How do you use it? Obviously feel. I mean, it would be better if you explained it.
So how do we use it? For me, I mean, how do we use it? It's just it has 4 parts. It depends. Some are the ones that can fold are called rigid canes, and the ones that can fold are the ones that have 4 parts. So you straighten it up. It has a rubber elastic inside that connects all the parts together.
Okay.
And then you just you put it. There's a few techniques how to use it. Some of us prefer using it on the side, and some prefer to use it in the front, to show them that there's a drain in the front, or there's a rubbish bin, or there's a big table or something, or a wall. So how you use it well is how often you use it. So
Okay, practice
yes,
makes perfect.
Yes, so
Yeah.
the more you use it, the more you'll know how to detect something that's in front of you before bumping into it or before colliding into it. So
Yes.
it's the more you use it, the more perfect you become, and the more independent you are.
And the way you'll feel as well, I'm
Yes,
sure.
and when you will be able to, as a blind person, you'll be able to feel if the cane is on the road or on the footpath or on the grass.
Wow.
Yes, so it's just a matter of using it frequently. You'll be able to navigate well.
Thank you so much for that, Ruthie. I mean, we've always wondered about things like that. I know I always watch movies, how they have the dogs. They're the lovely Labrador dogs. I wish we could have that here too.
Yes.
I know, that's so cute. But we'll be back for more on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits, your only classic hits radio station in Fiji. Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Our guest in the studio today, the United Blind Persons of Fiji. They're from Anaseni Vaka, India. And Ruthie Senikula, who's been answering a lot of questions that I've thought about. But Ruthie, just as we were speaking personally, you weren't born blind, were you, Ruthie?
I was born blind, but I had some vision before, so I was low vision. I was able to see colors, trees, my parents, how they look like, my brothers and sisters, until I was 8. And the doctors said that I have cataract, and the cataract sort of covered the pupil. So that's when I started to learn Braille.
Oh, okay. So that's why I always imagined if someone is blind, like how would they be able to see color like you if they were, born blind? Like they've never been, but at least you remember all that, eh?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, because I have friends who have asked me the same thing, like, how does a blind person, when you tell them it's the sky is blue, how do they see blue? Because they haven't seen at all in their life.
Right.
And for me, I think I haven't asked, but it's just my own assumption, because if and I imagine myself that if I haven't seen before and someone explained to me that, wow, it's pink, it's pretty, so I would associate pink with something maybe that feels good, like something fluffy or something, soft. Like, depends how they, for me, it will depend how they describe that something,
Yes.
If it's ugly or if it's dirty, then maybe I would associate it with something like a dirty wall or a dusty place or something. But it's interesting, like, because for somebody who has seen colors, will be able to explain, will be able to associate that thing with whatever they're talking about. But for someone who hasn't seen at all, that's how I feel. I haven't asked my colleagues who are totally blind, how would you think blue, or how would you think white is, or pink? But that's how I think. I feel that's how I'd feel if I haven't seen at all. I would associate that color with something,
like a description.
yes, like if you say the sea is blue, okay, I don't know, maybe I would just associate blue is something that looks nice, but it would be different because it's how I imagine it. Sometimes maybe I won't be able to explain it to somebody else, because I haven't seen it. But so I think that's how it might work. But I think I will ask my friends after when I go back to the office.
I think you should. I really think you should, because I've always wondered about this. And, just so nice to know that you are just explaining to us everything so clearly. It's quite amazing, and just nice to talk to you about all this.
Yes, and what I know from experience with my friends, if maybe they have, she has a green dress.
Okay.
And she hasn't seen what green is, but she would know that that dress is green because you told her that it's green. And just by touching the dress, she know it's that green dress. So,
right.
Yeah, so
that's
like
how
with
she,
with clothes, that's how we do. So you will we'll just you tell us, okay, this is a very beautiful flowery bula shirt, green maybe, and then we fill that shirt, and then we'll be able to know from all other 100 clothes or 20 clothes we have that's
the blue one.
Yes, that's that flowery nice bula shirt that you want to wear.
Oh, Oh, I see. Because even I've watched in movies how you touch people's face to see that you can imagine the features of that person.
Yes, for that, it's also hearing the voice of that person, or maybe if you've been working with them for very long, if they wear these certain shoes, just by hearing the shoes, oh, she's coming, or Louise is coming, or somebody
Right.
else is coming, or even by the perfume that they wear.
Right.
So these are the things that we take for granted, but the things that people who are blind work with every day.
I mean, you are so aware, how you spoke earlier on, like, how people, if you're walking with someone, they talk to that person instead of talking directly to you.
Yes, Louise. Oh my gosh, it happens a lot. And for us, it's very irritating.
Oh.
I mean, if you are going with somebody and that person wants to speak to you, but is asking the other person about you, and the other person doesn't know anything about you,
Yeah.
it's just and it's also on our part, on making awareness, on
Yes.
coming out of our homes and speaking to our friends and talking about that we are just as the same as others. And this happens even when we travel on the plane. The air hostess, if we are going with personal assistant, they speak to our personal assistant instead of speaking to us.
Yeah, that's
And
really irritating. I
yes,
can understand you. Yes.
Yes, and even at the shops. So what I do is when they start speaking to my friends, I just barge in and then we have a conversation, and that's just how it goes. So
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least now that we're talking, people will know what to do. I mean, when you walked in here, I spoke to you two straight away. You were fine.
Yes, it's just, and it's also on our part, making awareness that
Yeah.
it's fine to talk to us. If you want to know anything, just you can ask us.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, lovely. Now, okay, well, that's really nice. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Ruthie. But just another question on the white canes, okay? So, do all blind people have access to white canes in Fiji? You've got 300 members in the United Blind Persons of Fiji. I know it's not free. You might have, maybe how much does it cost to get one?
Okay, so we order from some companies in either Australia or New Zealand that
Yes.
sell these white canes. We order from them and keep it in the office. And when our members need them, they make an application, they fill the forms, and we give them according to their size.
Okay.
So it's quite expensive, and we're thankful to the Ministry of Social Welfare that gives us this NGO grant.
Okay.
So we apply for to help us with our aids and appliances, the white canes, the Braille and talking watches, the lenses that our members can use to read, and other devices that help them to live as normal as their friends.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've just run out of time. We'll be back soon, and that'll be for our last segment on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. Gold FM, only the classic hits, and I trust you're enjoying this week's episode where we have from the United Blind Persons of Fiji, Anaseni Vakaindia and Ruthie Senikula. Now, we were talking just before the break about the white canes, how it is provided, you need to apply for it. So, do you have many people that apply for these white canes?
We have people coming in and out applying for the canes, and we have requirements for them. So when we have someone who comes in and asks for a cane, they have to become our member first.
Okay.
We register them and enter their data in our database. We ask them to bring a birth certificate with passport photos, and also very important, we ask them for a medical report from the doctor stating that they are legally blind.
Yes.
So when they come into the organization, we when they come into the organization and provide us with all these documents, and so we issue them a cane if they need if they cannot travel or go around on their own. We give them a cane to help them be independent.
Okay.
So not all our members have canes. It depends if they are totally blind, or if they have maybe 5 or 10% vision, we encourage them to use the cane.
Yes, I mean, if someone's listening now, they will know what to do.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's all about awareness.
Yes.
And I'm sure you encourage the use of white cane because, like you said, it's a symbol in itself of independence for you.
Yes. So our office is based in Brown Street, at 3 Brown Street. You won't miss it. And it's the first office when you enter on the right side. If listeners, if maybe you know of someone who is blind, or someone who needs a white cane, who you can bring them to our office, and we will help you to get registered and give whatever support that is necessary to that new member.
Right. Now, what are the work opportunities like for the visually impaired now compared to before?
Before, I think, was very limited. Just 2 years ago, we had this idea program. It's called Include Disability Employability Program, that was funded by Australia, DFET. And this it had many phases. It had six project phases. One with employment, one with education. So with employment, the program tried to get as many persons with disabilities, not only blind but also deaf, physical disabilities, to try and get the qualifications and enroll them, employ them. Try to find employment for them. But for our members, we have a few members who's in the bank. We have some school teachers, we have masseurs, we have one at the FNU, and some of our members also are still schooling at USP. So we try to help them get employment according to what area they need.
Okay, so have you had much success in this? Have employers been, doing what you'd like them to, employ a visually impaired person or a blind person?
We're still creating awareness, and we hope that employers maybe will be watching this show. We have our members who are also capable of being employed. Like I said before, it's also on our part of raising awareness on the abilities and the capabilities of our members.
Okay.
And yes.
And that's really good, Ruthie. So, the visually impaired, they have the capability to perform any task a normal person can do. Now, as a visually impaired person or blind person, what would you like to share about how you feel? I can have an answer from both of you.
Thank you. For myself, as a blind and visually impaired person, you may be blind, but you may be good in other areas. So my message is that if there are blind people who are out there in the community, just an encouragement that it is not the end of life, as Ruthie have already said. It's just another beginning. The important part is for someone to accept their disability, that he or she is blind, and then try and move on. There is an organization for blind and visually impaired people, so all people need to do is come and join and see ways in which how the organization can support in terms of employment, in terms of receiving or getting support from the government through the social welfare ministry and other programs that's available within the organization.
Oh, that's good. Thank you very much, Anaseni. And Ruthie?
Yes, I would just want to encourage everyone who's listening, who's watching this very interesting program, that if you give a blind person an opportunity, maybe at work or for employment, he or she will work twice as hard to be in competition with their colleagues. So there's or we encourage our members to be competitive and to try and be out there in the job market with their colleagues. But it all depends on the willingness of the employers to accept them, and also the willingness of the employee to work as hard and be part of the community that they'll work and live in.
Yes, and just as Anna Seni also said, thank you very much, Ruthie, you know, how you have encouraged people who may be listening right now, visually impaired or even blind, to come along and join your organization. You know, it's not the end of the world. And I'm sure if, they come along to you, you will be more than happy to assist them to have a happy life.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. And it's just great. It has been great talking to you from the United Blind Persons of Fiji. Anaseni Vakaindia Vinaka Vakalevu.
Naka Louise.
And Ruthie Senikula. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, Louise.
Well, that's it for this week's episode on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Speak your mind. Until next week, Nisamwa Manda.